Decorating Pages is a podcast dedicated to taking you behind the scenes of the designs of your favorite TV shows and films. Each episode, I'll be sharing design stories from some of Hollywood's most famous sets. Interviews from set decorators, production designers, directors, and actors about creating the look of TV and film, about their design inspirations, and stories that take sets from page to screen.
Hello, and welcome to Decorating Pages. I am your host, Kim Wannop. How are you? How are you, Mr. October? Those Phillies, oh my God, those Phillies. They better win. They gotta win. Oof. Anyway, yeah, mid-October already. How about that? This is going to be a short and sweet little episode here. I'm going to introduce and talk about a little bit of the film study podcasts and videos that I've done that I've been talking about for months, and now I'm starting to finally release, and I'm very excited and very eager to hear some feedback to see if anyone thinks that they're actually helpful. Professionals who participated in this thought that they would be helpful, so that gave me encouragement to keep going. So I'll talk about that in a minute. I am a little nasally. Sorry, I had sinus surgery over the weekend, and about a week or two, it'll be great. Right now, it's a little touch and go, a little painful, but I had it done before. Whatever, it happens. But I don't want to prolong a bad voice for you, so here we go. Production Design Week is still going on this week. If you haven't checked it out, productiondesignweek.org. They have a ton of panels all over the world. They have, it's just a celebration of production design all over the world. They have panels, they have master classes. I mean, Nathan Crawley, Ingenio Cabrero, Patrice Vermette. I'm saying all these wrong, sorry. They had screenings of La La Land and Atonement. They Silence of the Lambs with Kristen C. I mean, they have panels. I was lucky enough to host one. These are all online. The production design of New Orleans, the visual language of Mexican cinema, production designers and collaborators, the evolution of set design in Iranian cinema. I mean, it's all over the world, and I've checked out a couple of them. They're fantastic. So I hope that they keep these up for a while, because it's a lot. They've put together so much, and I just hope that they keep it available to the public so that I can keep checking them out. Again, that's productiondesignweek.org. So yeah, there's that. End of October. Talk about being back to work a little bit. I mean, I was back for 1 week, and I will tell you that I am exhausted. You forget, getting up, getting the family, being mom and working mom and wife, and even for husband, working husband. And, it's a lot. It's a lot going on once you get back to work. And you know what kills me? The traffic. Why is the traffic so bad in LA? And I mean, hardly anybody's even working, and it's bad. When everybody's at full force, this traffic is going to be unreal. It's so bad. It boggles my mind. But as I've said many times, I take advantage of it. I listen a lot to Howard Stern, and I do audiobooks. And I am just finishing up and I guess an autobiography by Rob Lowe called Stories I Only Tell My Friends. I thought it was appropriate since I am starting the second season of Unstable. And boy, damn, does this guy have a life. What a life. And how he sort of crafted it for himself and willed himself and worked. But just the happenstance of some of his stories and meeting celebrities when he was young, or getting onto a film, or I don't know, just fantastic stories of his life. It's really interesting. And the book was, I think, done in 2013, so it's about 10 years old. And he has another one I might do, but I would definitely recommend it if you're like a Hollywood person and you want to hear some stories. I mean, he even goes a lot into like how he got the Outsiders and auditioning for Francis Ford Coppola and decision making and choices of films early on in his career. So it's an interesting process too of actors. How it's a side that I don't, super relate to, and how they make these decisions and the crushing aspect of it and the celebration of it. And so it was good. I would definitely recommend that book. And what Wannop is watching, I did this movie. I don't know if you've ever seen this movie. It's called Time After Time. And Mary Steenburgen is in it. It's like one of her first films. And it's the guy from Clockwork Orange, Malcolm McDowell. And I swear to you, I saw this movie when I was way too young. I probably saw it. It's a 1979 film, and I probably saw it early 80s. And it's H.G. Wells invents a time machine, and he doesn't know that he's friends with Jack the Ripper, and Jack the Ripper takes the time machine and goes to San Francisco in 1979. It's a pretty good. I mean, you could remake that now. That would be pretty good. But I don't know why I was so young watching Jack the Ripper kill hookers. I should not have been watching that. But I think what was fantastical about this film and what made me always remember it was these, in parentheses, special effects of the time machine like disappearing, and like these rainbow flares that they put in to the camera or onto the screen has always like made me think of that movie. Like there's something about, maybe because I was a child and it was a rainbow, I don't know. Anyway, it's not a bad movie, and it's a very good period looking at San Francisco in 1979. I would say that. So I checked that out. But the boys, I watched Nightmare Before Christmas, which is scary. I had never seen it up until about a year ago. That shit's scary. That shouldn't be for kids. I'm not really a fan. They love that song, This Is Halloween, and then they kind of die off. But it's still fantastic. Dean Taylor, I think, is the art director on that. I should say Time After Time was done by production designer Edward Carfargo and set decorator Barbara Krieger. And Edward shows up a lot in my film study also. And it was weird that I just tuned onto this movie and this guy was the production designer. So many designers back then did so many movies and were a part of the studio system. It's amazing. We watched the original Willy Wonka with Gene Wilder, which I love. We fast forwarded through the scary boat part because I didn't want the kids to have nightmares. But God, the design of that is so great too, because there's something fantastic in, you want to go to his factory and they have all these whimsical things in there, and you can eat off the trees and you can dip, your hand in the chocolate and everything. But there still is this underlining factory, the windows and the machinery and everything. And they never really lose sight of that in the design of it. And even his office is like so weirdly shaped, and just looking at it again, it's just the design of it. Harper Goff, Goff. It says art director on that. So I think that is definitely a design that you think about, like, oh, Willy Wonka. And then, the remakes of it and how they interpreted the book and how we've grown in design and special effects, and seeing how they did it so differently is pretty awesome, I must say. And I watched The Color Purple because I am actually pretty sad that they are remaking The Color Purple. I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. But The Color Purple, to me, I have seen so many times. I know every song. I love, I just, there's something about the film that is so touching. And now watching it as a mother, and those those scenes of her looking at her child in another woman's arms. It's just heartbreaking. But production designer J. Michael Reeve and Bill Welsh, and my number one go-to, like on my wish list, Linda Descana, set decorated that film, and it's a fantastic film. I don't know why they're remaking it. I'm so bummed. I'm actually so bummed that they're remaking it. But yeah, that's what I've been up to. So let's talk about this film study. So here's the thing. I'm sitting around one day and I thought, man, people go to film school and they learn things. And I think I was talking to a production designer about what film school they had gone to. But, it's mostly theatrical, or I got into theater design and then moved into production design, just, making a connection myself type thing, or learning on the job, as a lot of people do. And I was thinking about film school, and I had friends in college who went to film school, and, a couple of their classes, all they did was watch films and talk about the films and talk about the directing and talk about the writing of it. So why not watch films and talk about the production design of it? I'm not coming up with anything brilliant here. And here's the thing. I just want to watch movies. I wish my job was just to watch movies. Let's be honest. This is what I really want. I want to watch films. I think a film critic has it friggin' made in this business. But I thought, if I could watch a film with, let's just say, a student or someone who's interested in production design, and point out details of why these colors were used, or look at this backdrop, or look at the color combination of the furniture against the set type thing, that maybe I could help people decide if they wanted to get into production design and set decorating. And that's been the basis of this whole podcast, is to, pull back the curtain a little bit and tell stories of how we get it done. But also to help people, if they want to get into production design, what are they actually pursuing? Because I didn't know. I knew I watched all of these fantastic movies growing up, but I didn't really know what an art department was. It took me a long time to realize, when watching the Oscars, you see all these categories, and production design, it's different than editing. You know what an editor, they edit. Oh, the sound. Oh, this. But the production design is very kind of vague when in a broad spectrum of it, just hearing it. So anyway, I came up with this. Let's watch Oscar-nominated films and let's talk about them. Because obviously, the industry and whoever was voting in those Oscar years thought that these nominated films were the best of the best. So why not look at past years that were nominated and talk about these films, the winners. And I'll be honest, some films we talk about weren't nominated, but we think that they should have been. And that's another thing of how do things age, and how do, looking back, why would that win when it was up against this that has influenced so many other designs? You don't know in the moment that, let's say, a Blade Runner or anything is going to influence 1,000 other films. So it became so interesting to me. And I know, when I started out, I thought, I can't do this alone because I need somebody to talk to. It can't just be me and this voice, you hearing it. So my goal was to find other collaborators in this and other professionals, other production designers, decorators, I have buyers, all of us people who are actually working in the industry talking about these films. And the first person I thought who might be up for it is my friend and production designer, Adam Rao, because Adam's all about being kind of happy and going for it, and he's up for anything kind of guy. He's great. And if you have listened to him on this podcast or ever have met him, he's fantastic. He's a fantastic person. He's fun, and he's descriptive and very into, production design in his job. So I first asked him to help me with this. And then as with him and going through this, then I started to evolve it to, well, who else can I ask? And other decorators. And who else would have a perspective on this? Oh, a buyer. So what I did was I came up with the list of every nominated production design film since the nominations started back in 1927, I believe. And I just sent people the list, and they chose what year they wanted to talk about. And everyone's like, I don't know. There's so many good years. I don't know if this one's good, this one. They're all good years. There's at least, 2 or 3 films in every year that you're like, oh, that was up against that? No way. Like, it is kind of mind-blowing that Gone with the Wind was up against The Wizard of Oz, and there's only one winner. That sucks. Obviously, it was Gone with the Wind, but think about that. And then we get into years where there's 5 black and white films nominated and 5 color films. And then the next year, there's only 2 and 2. Like, there seemed to be no rhyme or reason to how many they nominated when there was black and white and color. That's something I have not gotten to the bottom to. But, yeah. So, I have right now, I have like 10 to 12 episodes of this film study class that I will be releasing. Now, I said I wanted to talk to someone. And number 2, I need to make this more visual. I need you as the listener or viewer to be able to put the sets that we are talking about into more of a context. So there are YouTube videos or on my website videos that accompany what we're talking about. Now, I'm not gonna lie, 1 or 2 of them I did backwards. We talked first and then I put pictures to it. I shouldn't have done it that way. The rest of them, I put together slideshows so that everyone was on the same page talking about the exact same sets at the same time. Okay? I live and learn, but they're all good. I'm not lying. Everything's good. So this does become more of a visual class than the regular podcast. Listening to the podcast, I still think you understand it, but I highly would encourage you to look at the videos that go with this. So when I'm talking about, Life with Father or Great Expectations, that you can see the staircase that we're talking about and the use of shadow and how the designer brought in light through this element or whatnot. So I really recommend the videos, but still listen to the podcast too. So, yeah. And I think, and the feedback that I got with people who dedicated a lot of time to this, because in some, there were 10 movies to watch. And in those years, we decided to split them up 5 and 5. But others, that's a lot of time to ask someone to give up. Can you watch these 5 movies? A lot of nominated movies are 2 to 3 hours long. Can you make some notes? Then can you give me time to, record a podcast? So I am extremely thankful for everyone who helped me with this. And I think will continue to help me with this because I still have 1 or 2 to do. Like, it just keeps going. I kind of have approached people of, hey, I'm doing this film study class, and they have said, oh, that would be fun. I'd love to do that. So I might keep it going. I don't know. It's kind of hard working and doing it all. But as you know, I love a challenge. Love it. So just to formally talk about this, because I wrote this up. So listen here. Production design is the art of storytelling through visual expression. It's about creating immersive worlds that transport audiences to different times and places. Every detail has a purpose. Every set has a story to tell. It's a collaborative process that combines creativity, craftsmanship, and meticulous attention to detail. So, I hope you will join in the discussion of this and celebrate these films that explore the masterful production design that brought these stories to life. I'm really hoping that I can provoke conversation in our community with this also. And it's not just for students, but also like, hey, did you see how they use that backdrop and blah, blah, blah? Or like, look at the translate in this. Or, oh my gosh, look at the smalls on that movie. And really just nostalgically appreciate previous work that has been done. Yeah, so I think I said enough. I think that's a pretty good introduction. So each of the film studies that I will release, I'll release them as a podcast and as a video on Tuesdays, as I do podcasts also. So yeah, I'm really excited to hear some feedback, and I really hope you enjoy, as I usually say. But I am, again, I'm just so thankful that people have been into it, and it's been a wonderful process. I have watched probably 80 to 90 films in the last 3 months, just putting together this and putting together the videos and putting it all together. So I know I'm not a professional at editing videos and whatnot, but I think they look pretty good. Let me know. Anybody wants to jump in and help. I'm always all ears. And yeah, so I hope you enjoy this film study podcasts and videos. Again, my YouTube, God, I don't even know. I mean, the YouTube is Decorating Pages Podcast on YouTube. You could check that out. I'm also going to have the links on the website on decoratingpagespodcast.com. That will be under Watch. Or Film Study. Maybe I'll put it under Film Study. You can find it either place. How about that? So, you are going to get an earful. I am Kim Wannop for Decorating Pages.